I'll tell you this though, you bit more than you could chew.
It's cool. You can feel that way.
For sure.
But come fight night, you're going to realize this is a lot different than being on the outside, than being inside of there.
As they all say.
Okay. I'm slow, right?
Mentally.
Oh my God, mentally, okay. I'm talking about I'm slow in the boxing ring, right?
Mentally.
I'm talking about the boxing ring, what you was talking about. I'm slow, right?
Mentally.
Okay, you gonna see.
So here's the thing that just happened in boxing that nobody saw coming. The most defensively brilliant mind in the sport just walked into camp with one of the division's most explosive forces. We're talking about Floyd Mayweather linking up with Teófimo Lopez as he prepares for war against Shakur Stevenson. This isn't just training anymore. This is strategic warfare where the right guidance can transform raw talent into something unstoppable. The question burning through the boxing community right now is whether this partnership becomes the game changer that elevates Teo into legend territory, or the perfect counter move to crack Shakur's defensive code.
Floyd, when you think about the fighters who are fighting now, can you give me your 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 when it comes to the lightweight? Who you would put where?
As of right now, the two guys, the biggest puncher, I feel at the 135 would probably be Gervonta Tank Davis. But the most skillful fighter at 135 will be hands down Shakur Stevens.
What is it about?
Teófimo Lopez walks into this preparation phase carrying himself differently than usual. There's no casual experimentation or flashy displays you'd expect from a confident fighter. Every single movement has purpose, because this isn't about putting on a show. This is about closing the tiny gaps against someone who's made a career out of suffocating his opponents. The atmosphere feels surgical rather than explosive.
Shakur is a very talented, skillful, technique fighter.
Yeah.
You know, can't take anything away from me. However, scared to get hit. Scared to get knocked out in front of the world. Scared to get touched up in front of the world. And
are you saying that off of the last fight or just
in general?
In general.
In general.
Yeah.
In general. Me and Shakur sparred before. We did 3 rounds, and it was just light work. And me trying to figure out his jab. Does he have a good jab? Yeah, he does. But once you pass it.
What jumps out immediately is how every drill coming from this camp screams intention over improvisation. Lopez is moving with laser focus that tells you he completely grasps what happens when you get impatient against a technician like Stevenson. This entire preparation revolves around control, perfect timing, and developing the mental strength to apply relentless pressure without falling apart into wild swingings.
I don't see no contract that says Shakur's name on there.
Yeah.
So until then, I'm gonna say and talk my stuff.
Yeah.
And if you want to come that way, then come that way. I mean, you have investors that are with you. And that's great, but they understand that they cannot have you come this way. Because I am too much of a gamble for anybody.
The training footage tells the whole story if you know what to look for. Those pad sessions are tight and devastating, but never sloppy. Each combination ends with Lopez perfectly balanced instead of off his feet trying to look spectacular. They're treating footwork like ammunition rather than just technique. Drill after drill focuses on creating angles and finding clean escape routes so Stevenson can't land his counters.
I'll be honest, I'm gonna be real honest. He was a lot better younger.
Oh, that's he was better when he was younger?
Especially at the JOs, Junior Olympics. When you were whooping feet, yo.
All right.
Yeah, he was looking really sharp out there.
You don't think he developed enough power or something?
It's not about the power. I think that he just focusing too much on one arsenal.
Wrong with Teo is Teo also looks good as a counter puncher when you are a volume puncher too. Another thing is Teo looked very great when he's dialed in. He fights more athletic.
The defensive adjustments happen constantly and deliberately. They're designed to break up rhythm rather than chase big reactions. Lopez isn't preparing to drown Stevenson in punches. Instead, he's learning to squeeze the ring smaller and smaller until Stevenson runs out of places to hide. Right in the middle of this whole operation, you've got Teófimo Lopez Sr. doing what he does best. People love to call their relationship drama, but what you're really seeing is a finely tuned system of pressure and accountability they've built over years together. See, he isn't pushing for reckless aggression or showboating. He's hammering home the truth that slick movers don't get beaten by wild power but by carefully constructed traps that tighten gradually. You won't see any ego conditioning or endurance stunts designed to impress cameras. This work targets staying razor sharp in the later rounds when exhaustion makes fighters sloppy and tiny mistakes become fight-ending moments. What really stands out is how balanced everything feels. Lopez isn't hunting for highlight reel knockouts in sparring. He's polishing instincts and eliminating the small openings that someone as precise as Stevenson would punish brutally.
You just said though, you said that you ready to pull an upset. So you acknowledging that Shakur is the better fighter?
Never.
No.
You just said that. You said the upset.
Well,
no,
I say
the odds are probably has him ahead.
no. Yeah, it's just the odds. They got him as the favorite.
Oh,
right
got you,
now.
got you,
Yeah,
got
the
you, got
odds
you,
I
got
think
you.
is like 3-1 right now.
Okay.
So that's all.
All
So
right.
I'm kind of used to being in that position. So I'm just here to reclaim them and redefend them.
So with that upset, like, what do you plan to like exploit?
Everything changes when Floyd Mayweather steps into this training environment, but here's what's interesting. His arrival doesn't turn the camp into some media circus, and it doesn't bulldoze the system Lopez and his father already built. What Mayweather brings is something you can't teach in textbooks. Real experience managing elite-level wars against defensive masters. His influence works quietly, focusing on reading situations, controlling pace, and understanding exactly when holding back becomes a weapon instead of weakness. Mayweather's entire career serves as the perfect blueprint for this specific challenge, not because Lopez needs to copy his style, but because the core principles of limiting risk while applying maximum pressure are exactly what beating Stevenson requires. This partnership carries serious symbolic power too. Mayweather represents a whole lineage of fighters who dominated through control and adjustment. Those are qualities people usually associate with Stevenson rather than Lopez. By bringing that wisdom into his corner, Lopez is sending a clear message that he understands this fight can't be won on pure instinct alone.
Listen, man, happy to have you on the platform, man. Big fight coming up. I heard you was the one that wanted to fight, right?
Yeah. I actually set this fight up. And I honestly did it because I wanted to push myself. I know that Teo is a tremendous fighter. I know he's on an extremely high level. And I feel like, well, I know that I can beat him, but I know that this should be a tough set, so.
This move shows Lopez recognizes that discipline, which everyone considers Stevenson's biggest advantage, has to become his strength too if he wants to maintain pressure consistently for 12 full rounds. Meanwhile, Stevenson's camp operates with this quiet efficiency that might look boring to casual observers. The training clips show endless repetition and surgical precision instead of variety. Every drill hammers distance control, feints, and defensive sequences that eliminate errors before they can even develop. His entire preparation philosophy centers on the idea that boring consistency in training creates reliability when the pressure peaks. The coaching staff builds every session to replicate Lopez's explosive bursts and sudden shifts, making sure Stevenson's responses become automatic rather than reactive. Lateral movement dominates every single training session with constant work on stop-and-go footwork, plus angle resets after every exchange. Stevenson's whole approach reflects quiet confidence in his preparation rather than loud bravado. There's zero visible effort to project intimidation or flex dominance, just pure belief that disciplined execution will slowly eliminate every option Lopez has. His camp seems focused on frustrating Lopez into critical mistakes, knowing that one poorly timed entry or sloppy reset could flip the entire fight's momentum. This preparation is built around denial rather than assertion, where victory means removing opportunity rather than creating it.
Would Teófimo knock out Shakur? No. Can Teo adjust to the point where he beats Shakur? Yeah. You don't see how? Shakur hates slick and economic boxers. So does Teo. They both hate where each other are. Shakur looks great against volume punchers. De Los Santos sitting back and not being active, Shakur doesn't look good. That's when they say he's boring. The thing is, Teófimo Lopez is an excellent fighter. He beat Josh Taylor and Lomachenko. How did he beat Lomachenko? By being patient. Y'all.
The difference between these two camps perfectly captures the philosophical war at the heart of this matchup. Lopez trains to force his will through calculated pressure, believing that key moments rather than sustained control determine fights. Stevenson trains to erase those moments completely, trusting that structure and discipline can neutralize pure explosiveness. Neither game plan guarantees success, and both carry dangerous risks that only become clear under the bright lights. Lopez's public presence during this build-up shows shows calm certainty rather than loud aggression. His confidence doesn't need validation or noise. It just exists with the kind of quiet assurance that gets under opponent's skin because it doesn't seek approval. He clearly understands the difference between forcing a finish and creating space for one to develop naturally. That's usually something you learn through hard experience rather than classroom instruction. The fact that Stevenson is moving up in weight adds another interesting element, as Lopez seems determined to test how well that transition holds up under sustained pressure. I think this shapes up as an incredible fight.
I think it's a great fight. You'll really see, you know, because I mean, at the end of it, they're both Olympians. They're both multi-division world champions. Teo is an incredible fighter, and Shakur is an incredible fighter. Shakur has a really high boxing IQ and a very. Shakur coming out. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a good fight. I like to see it.
The mutual respect between these fighters, built through their amateur days, exists right alongside the understanding that competition erases all familiarity. There's no sentimentality in this matchup, just acknowledgement of elite skill and the cold reality that only one fighter's identity survives this contest. Lopez's comfort in this space where confidence and doubt live together suggests he actually performs better when certainty gets questioned rather than confirmed. Stevenson maintains laser focus that blocks out all external noise and storylines. His responses to the buildup stay measured, centered on preparation instead of prediction. His confidence grows from precedent, shaped by previous victories against fighters who were once considered unsolvable puzzles. This track record fuels his belief that any pattern can be disrupted and any system broken if you apply the right pressure at precisely the right moments. Mayweather's presence reinforces Lopez's belief that this fight isn't completely uncharted territory, even though Stevenson presents a completely unique challenge.
We're in a ring.
That is, defense is not as impeccable as people mention it.
Nah, it's impeccable. This is pretty elite. Come on, Teófimo. It's pretty elite.
No. Well, that's what I say.
What is his weakness, though, if there's one?
His mind. Once you penetrate the mind, that's it. It's game. This is boxing. This has always been since forever. And if your mind ain't strong in this, it's never going to accomplish anything in life.
Stevenson's team keeps attention locked on the fighter rather than the corner drama. The emphasis stays on execution instead of narrative, understanding that external confidence doesn't change what happens between the ropes. This contrast highlights subtle tension between experience-driven belief and system-driven assurance. Both approaches face serious testing when real-time adaptation becomes necessary. As fight night gets closer, uncertainty becomes the defining characteristic. This contrast won't resolve through early dominance or dramatic momentum swings, but through small advantages accumulated over time. Rounds will lean one direction before snapping back the other way as control and pressure trade influence back and forth. The margin for error stays razor thin, and the consequences of misjudgment become massive. The middle rounds could prove absolutely decisive, as fatigue subtly changes movement and decision-making. If Lopez manages to force Stevenson to work even slightly harder than planned, the entire dynamic can shift rapidly. Stevenson's ring intelligence and adaptability are proven quantities, but explosiveness has this way, asserting itself regardless of how well you prepare.
I'm gonna go with my boy Shakur. I just think you just keep the distance, keep it clean, fight when he needs to, box when he needs to. But I do like Lopez. He's very athletic, he knows how to box, and I think when he's an occasion like this, he does rise to it. But I just think Shakur's been around the world as an amateur as well as a pro.
The real question isn't whether Lopez possesses fight-ending power, but whether Stevenson can consistently prevent its expression. Mayweather's influence looms large here, as a reminder that discipline can neutralize chaos, but also that pressure must be managed rather than completely avoided. His presence in Lopez's corner suggests understanding that victory might depend on resisting the urge to force outcomes, even when opportunities seem to be slipping away. It's wisdom earned through longevity rather than aggression, and its application faces testing against a fighter whose entire approach is built on infinite patience. This fight becomes a fascinating study in fighter identity. Stevenson represents the belief that structure and control can solve any problem given enough discipline. Lopez embodies the conviction that belief and pressure can bend any structure until it breaks. Neither philosophy is naturally superior, and both have created champions. The outcome depends on which identity asserts itself more convincingly when everything is on the line. There are no guarantees in this war, only expectations shaped by preparation and history. Mayweather's presence adds serious weight rather than spectacle, reinforcing just how significant the task ahead really is. In the end, this isn't about proving theoretical superiority, but about surviving the real-world application of belief under maximum pressure, where expectations collide with consequence and identity gets tested in real time.
Tio, he's a bigger name though, so I see why you went with him.
Yeah, bigger name, and also he got the more accolades. He's been undisputed before. He's won belts at 35, won belts at 30, at 40. So he's more accomplished. So I know that would be a better name on my resume.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that this is gonna be a tough fight for you.
I mean, they absolutely right to have their opinion. I already know this guy's good. I done came up in the amateurs with him.
As the final camp days approach, focus narrows even further and the work shifts from building to confirming. Both fighters stop constructing foundations and start stress testing what they've already built. Intensity doesn't spike dramatically because at this level, intensity is simply assumed, but precision gets sharper and every single movement carries deliberate intent. Small adjustments happen quietly, not because game plans are changing, but because details matter exponentially more when margins become microscopic. For Lopez, emphasis remains on controlled pressure applied without emotional spillover. The drills keep reinforcing balance after offense, ensuring every committed action includes a clean exit strategy. This becomes particularly crucial against someone like Stevenson, who thrives on punishing overextension rather than engaging in wild exchanges. As fight night approaches, the psychological battlefield becomes increasingly critical. If Lopez finds his entries consistently blocked and his pressure constantly diffused, his patience faces serious challenges against an opponent who feeds on attrition rather than confrontation. This is where preparation meets harsh reality and where belief, no matter how deeply rooted, must adapt to changing circumstances. The outcome won't simply reflect who prepared harder, but who prepared more honestly for what the opponent truly represents. In that sense, this fight becomes less about dominance and more about resilience, measured not in moments of success but in how each fighter responds to sustained resistance.